Hi YouTubers, it's Smoking Essie 77 again for the first video today, I'll video like usual. This is part 5, I believe, in my series of aging cigars. Okay, part 5. Now this part will cover aging cigars 15 years and plus. So we've covered a lot in the series. This will be the last part in the series before the end of the series, and we'll cover in this part aging cigars at home and the factory 15 years plus. Disclaimer, just a flat out disclaimer, I am not familiar with this topic. So if some of this information is wrong, don't blame me. No nasty comments. So I am not familiar with this topic at all because, well, I'm familiar with this topic, but what I'm trying to say is aging cigars to this extreme because 15 years plus is really what's called extreme aging. So I'm not familiar with this at all. I don't know a whole lot about this. I'm just covering this briefly as part of the series, but I'm not by any means an expert in this. So please don't blame me if I'm wrong on any of this information. So just a flat out disclaimer. So aging cigars at home 15 years plus. Obviously cigars will get smoother and smoother. The taste will get smoother and smoother when you age at 15 years plus. And I think eventually, I could be wrong about this. And again, big disclaimer, I am not an expert in this subject at all. So I think after a while, after 15, 20, 25 years of aging, cigars just tend to lose flavor, you know. Really, what I'm trying to say is, I know I'm kind of lagging here, is really, the more you age cigars, the mellower and mellower they get, and the more mild they get. So a cigar that's really strong, like a Padron, you know, or Opus X, you know, or a La Flor Dominicana, you know, that's really strong, double Ajaro, triple Ajaro. After 15, 20, 25 years of age, 30 years of age at home, it's going to be really mellow and mild. It's going to lose a lot of the flavor. So in a way, and both in the factory also, so I mean, when you have cigars that are wickedly aged and extremely aged, they're 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 years and more, those cigars are not going to be as strong because one of the things that happens, I want to talk briefly about one of the things that happens with cigars when they go through so much extreme aging, you know, 15, 20 years, just a lot of the flavor, a lot of the strength is gone. So, and that's what you get out of those wickedly aged finished cigars. Is just the flavor, the strength, the body, all the nicotine, you know, all the buzz, you know, all the really strong kick strength is gone. So that's all I really know. I mean, again, it'll get smoother, much smoother taste. There'll be absolutely no harshness. But really, I actually like cigars that have less age than that because I find cigars that are, now, disclaimer, obviously, disclaimer, I've never smoked a cigar that's been aged that long. The cigar I've smoked that has been aged the longest is 11 years. That's the highest aged cigar that I've smoked is 11 years. So I'm not sure if cigars that are aged 15, 20, 30 years, 40 years, how they would taste. Because they're not very common also. And remember, these cigars are going to cost you a lot of money because the factory had to take time to set them aside and age them, you know, 2 decades, so, or 3 decades. So, number one, they're going to cost you a ton of money, probably per stick. I wouldn't be surprised, $50, $60 or something like that, something crazy like that. And also, they're not going to have the same taste. Vintage cigars in general, this is the final thing I'll say on this subject, because again, I'm not familiar with this subject at all. I'm not familiar with cigars that have aged this long, so please, no nasty comments, like saying, you don't know anything, you know, you blah blah blah, you know. So, the final thing I will say is, vintage cigars are not better than our cigars. Don't get the opinion that because a cigar has been aged 15, 20, 25 years, it's better than a cigar that's been aged 3 or 5 years. It's just different. If you watch Smoke Rings Pipe Dreams, Cal, he did a video on vintage cigars, you know, I think it was a while back. maybe a year and a half back, and or something like that, and they're just different. Vintage cigars are just different. I know this is a long ramble, but they're just different, and I have no experience with cigars that have aged that long whatsoever, so I'm not foreboding for that at all. Please don't criticize me if I'm wrong or whatever, but they're just different. Don't get the opinion. What I'm trying to say is, don't think, well, this cigar's been aged 20 years versus this cigar that's been aged 10 years. The one that's been aged 20 years must be better. No. The one that's aged 20 years is going to be different. It's going to be a lot mellower and a lot milder. So that's what the cigars really are. It's just mild cigars. So milder, smoother cigars. Anyway, peace, advice, later. Comment, rate, subscribe. Personally, me all fast enough to response if you want to. Peace, advice, later. Bye.